For part 2, you're opening the Sandy Shores data file, and the first thing it says to do is to name the range A6 through K123 sales data. After you highlight the range, you're going to go to the top left where I have typed in sales data and type the word in. It needs to be no spaces, and when you hit enter, it will save that range name for you. Now the next thing that it says is to add a column at the end named days on market, and we are going to calculate the number of days from the time this home was listed and when it was sold. And so it's a simple subtraction that we're going to do here. We're going to say equal K7 minus J7, and K is the date it was sold. That's the most recent or the largest date, and then J is when it was listed. And then after calculating that, you can take the fill handle and copy that into the rest of the column. The next thing it says to do is create range names for sales price, style, bedroom, and bath columns. You could actually highlight these each time you need them, but it's much easier to go ahead and highlight them now and name them. Then you just type in the name when you're using the formula. So I'm going to pause my video and range name these sections. Okay, so I've named those ranges, and the way you can check this, one of the ways, is to click on the names at the top left on the name box, and it shows all of the ranges that I have named. Now the next thing that it asks us to do is to add another column, and we are going to call this criteria homes. And what it is asking for here, we are going to indicate homes that have greater than one bedroom and greater than one bathroom. So we're going to use our range names, and we're going to use the AND function and say equal and you'll notice you could have any number of criteria here. We're going to say bedroom, and we want it to be greater than 1, and a comma, because now is the next condition, which we're going to say bath greater than 1. And we don't have any more conditions, so we're ready to close that. And it's telling us false because this particular home does not have greater than 1 bath. It has greater than 1 bedroom, but not bath. And then once again, you can use the fill handle and copy those all the way down. After those have been copied down, you can see that you have true and false for the criteria, whether it is met or not. Now the next thing that we need to do is to use conditional formatting to highlight the records where the sales price was greater than the asking price. And I stated on here at the end of the sentence to use a new rule. I'm going to stop this video here at this point and start a new one for the next section. Okay, so we left off, we were about to highlight the records that had a sales price greater than an asking price. So the first thing we need to do is highlight the records that we want to mark. So go all the way down, and after we highlight those records, we're going to use conditional formatting. Now that is on the Home tab. And we're going to go ahead, now we could go ahead and use manage rules or new rule here rather, but we're going to go to highlight cells rules because we know we want to highlight this cell. And we really can't use any of these options. So this is where I want you to use a new rule. And this will tell you right here you can use a formula to determine which cells to format. And like I said, you can use, there's another place in this you can use it. I'm just using this one because it already says highlight. And so when we select this one, it's asking you to format values where this formula is true. So we want it to format values where F7, we're just going to start with the first cell, F is greater than B. So we need to put equal, and we're going to say F7 because that's the first item in the column, and when it's greater than B7. And then right now there's no formatting set, so we have to tell it what we want it to do. And we want it to fill. If fill is not already selected, be sure you're on fill, and I'm just going to pick yellow and click OK, and then click OK again. Now it has highlighted all of the cells that it found where sales price is greater than asking price. Alright, the next thing it says to do is to add a new worksheet. So we're going to click on the new worksheet button right here, and we're going to create a worksheet as the picture shows on the information that I gave you. And so I'm going to pause for a few minutes and fill in the titles, and you'll need to do your formatting like you see it on this page, and I'll come back to the video as soon as I have that ready. So the information is typed in, and just a few things in case you may not remember how to do this. You can merge cells by right clicking, go to format, and we're going to tell these cells to merge, and we want the alignment to be centered. And with your words, when you have words and you want them to go to another row, don't forget that you have to tell the cells to on formatting, wrap text, and you can use the Alt button to have Alt enter and tell it exactly where you want those words to break from one line to the next. So our formatting is ready, and now it says to use conditional if functions for the number sold and the average sales price. Well, the conditional statement that we need to use for the number sold will be to count. So we're going to use count if. It's going to be count if, and we've already named our ranges, so we can use the word style here, and we want to know if the style is condo. So close this in. Whoops. Okay, so it didn't like something. So when it says name, that means it does not know one of the names I've used. So I'm going to stop and go back and see if I have style indicated as a range name. Okay, so I'm on my previous worksheet and I'm going to check names. And as you can see, I've misspelled one of them. So this is one of the kinds of errors that you may have in your worksheet. So if it says name, just go back and check to see that you named your ranges correctly. So after correcting the range name, you can see that it corrected the formula, and now it tells me how many homes said condo. Now you can retype the other two, or I'm just going to copy it down, and then I'm going to go back and make sure. See, I told it A5, so now it knows that one means ranch and this one means Victorian. And then you'll notice on the example on the worksheet, I did have a total under here, so I'm going to use the AutoSum function. So at the end of the previous video, we had just totaled the numbers sold for homes. And the next thing we are asked to do is create the average price. And this will also be a conditional if. This particular statement will be an average if statement. So we're going to type in equal average if, and you can see the help starts popping up for you. And what we're going to say here, once again, we have our range names, so we're going to say style, and we want it if it is the same as a condo, and we want it to average the sales price. And you'll notice those options keep popping up as I type, so I'm going to select sales price, but be careful because it doesn't always pick up the whole word like that. So we're going to type in the rest here, and now we have an average sales price. We'll have to go back and format as currency in a moment, but you can select that and drag it down so that it calculates the rest. And then I'm going to pause a moment and format that as currency. And pretty much the last thing I've asked you to do is to create a pie chart. So to create a pie chart for this information, highlight your headings and your dollar amounts. And then we're going to go to Insert, and we're going to look at the options for pie. Now I said a pie in 3D. So we're going to use a 3D pie chart, and the wizard pretty much creates that for you. We're going to leave it in this worksheet. I've relocated it slightly. Now the last thing that says is to be sure that you have data labels showing. Now to do data labels, you just click on the information, you're going to right click, and we just want it to add data labels. And so now you have numbers on each of the pieces of the pie. So that's all to this section. If you have any questions, please let me know.